child, my only blood, that's my only thing I have.
Yeah.
She always has been. She's jealous of my breasts. She's jealous of everything.
Of your what?
My breasts.
You tell me he attacks him.
The plaintiff, Miss Brenda, is suing her former friend, Miss Bennett, for an unpaid loan. Brenda claims that Bennett is a drug addict, while Bennett said she has never abused drugs. Let's get into it.
Plaintiff Brenda Gregory says she's known the defendant a long time, and she was a heavy drinker. Brenda believes the defendant is on drugs.
According to the plaintiff, she and the defendant had known each other for 10 years and were good friends for 6 years. She claims that Miss Bennett was a drinker from the day they knew each other, and the time it started bothering her was when Miss Bennett's behavior started to change. I wonder what she meant by that.
6 years, we became very, very good friends, which never really bothered me, but her behavior started to change.
Wait, that's how her behavior started bothering her? Because Miss Bennett lost weight, which, by the looks of it, was a good move on her part. Her reason is just ridiculous.
She lost a lot of weight. I'm from 300 pounds to where she's at now.
Exercise.
Sounds good to me.
Within 6 months, she lost all that weight. So I was concerned.
Miss Brenda says she met Miss Bennett's husband at the grocery store, and he told her that she was drinking and was on drugs. This isn't completely believable to me.
Grocery store, and he told me she was on up, which is a drug. But it wasn't only that. Just things she trashed the trailer that I had. We made amends since then.
The defendant admits to messing up the travel trailer, but then trails off to how she always has been there for the plaintiff, and how she took care of her and her family members. I wonder what happened to the great friendship they had.
I mean, because I was there for her, everything, always there for her. When her aunt and uncle, I helped take care of them.
What about what she said about your destructive behavior?
Well, you know what? It's called exercise.
Oh, this is wild. It appears the plaintiff wrote a long letter to the defendant's daughter, telling her that her mother was a heavy drinker, and she abused drugs too. Why would she do something like that?
Yeah, but talking about me doing drugs, she made a comment to my daughter, writes my daughter this long old letter about me doing drugs and this and that.
Did you ever see her doing drugs?
That's not true.
This is just hilarious. I don't understand why she spoke about the defendant being a drinker and a drug addict in the first place, when she was just going to say that it was none of her business. She already made it her business when she spoke about it.
I never said that to her.
It's her business if she wants to do drugs, not my business.
Well, no, you made that allegation, and she's kind of bothered. Well, not.
The defendant seemed really furious at the fact that the plaintiff brought her daughter into the whole messy situation. I'm not gonna lie, but the plaintiff looks like an unwise person.
Situation until my child, my only blood, that's my only thing I have.
Yeah.
Your daughter, where?
Right there.
She was talking to me.
You
Anyway.
wrote my daughter on.
The plaintiff said she did not tell the defendant's daughter that she was doing drugs, but the evidence that was presented, not only did she tell Miss Bennett's daughter that she was doing drugs, it seems like she was trying to convince her to believe what she told her.
Check, the IRS got it for child support. You shouldn't have went for that in the first place.
Yes.
I am so disappointed. Tim told me she is doing up, which is a drug, and that's why she lost so much weight. I would not lie to you.
Now we've gotten to the real matter. So Miss Bennett asked Miss Brenda for a loan in order to take a loan for $10,000 to save her place, as well as do things that were a priority to her. Unfortunately, she never got the $10,000 loan.
She owes me $500 because she came to me and I do care and I trusted her.
Okay.
Of all the people I trusted her.
What'd she tell you she needed it for? Let's see.
This.
You tell me, ma'am. You just can't
It's
handle
a loan that she said she was going to get.
What'd she tell you she needed it for?
For this.
These women are just funny to me. I really don't know why Miss Brenda brought Miss Bennett to court. I don't think she ever denied owing her in the first place.
So, do you owe her? Do you think you
Yeah,
should
I
pay
do
her
owe her.
money?
And I do plan on paying her back.
But
I
you
just
gave her
couldn't
the
do it
income.
quick
You
enough.
gave her the income tax game.
I never got my income tax.
That's always game and
Yeah, I
intent
know.
not to pay. When
I
you tell
understand that.
somebody that.
And I
If
understand
you-
that.
Miss Brenda needs to fix up and act her age. Telling Miss Bennett's daughter that her mother was doing drugs was just wrong. Here's another interesting one. The plaintiff is suing the defendant, who is also her sister, for $5,000. The defendant is also countersuing for the same amount. They both have more than one reason why they're suing. Let's look at these reasons.
But after Laura tried to save her from a life of stripping, she repaid Laura by trying to get her fired. Laura claims after her son passed away, the defendant started harassing her.
According to the plaintiff, she took the defendant in after she had been stripping at the club, and she tried to give her a job, but she didn't take it. The plaintiff had no choice but to tell her that if she didn't take the job, she'd have to pay her rent or move out. but it seems the defendant took that personally.
Hard to use. I paid her all her bills, and after a few weeks, I found her a job. She refused to take that job, and I told her if she didn't take the job, she'd have to pay me rent or she'd move out.
That's just a mean thing to do. The plaintiff gave her a fair option as an adult. I get that she was salty about what the plaintiff said, but calling her workplace to say that is just terrible.
Corporate office where I worked and tried to tell them that I was a drug dealer and get me fired from my job.
What year was that?
That was approximately 2006. But since that incident, Rebecca and I have not talked.
The defendant, Miss Rebecca, claims that the plaintiff is a drug addict and an alcoholic. She adds that the plaintiff did not raise her son, but their mother did. She believes her sister had been jealous of her their whole life. I wonder why.
Lori is a drug addict, an alcoholic. She never raised Ricky. He didn't even call her mother. He called my mom, Mom. Does that tell you anything?
That is not true, Your Honor.
It is true, Lori.
Oh, these are not valid reasons. Jealous of her breasts, hair, and other things? She is just full of herself.
What is she jealous of you about?
She always has been. She's jealous of my breasts. She's jealous of everything.
Of your what?
My breasts. She's jealous of everything about me, my hair, my eyes.
The defendant explains that the plaintiff's son's ex went to their mother's house to yell and call her names. In the fight that occurred, the defendant said that it was the son's ex that started it.
Nephew's ex came into my mother's house, yelling at my mother, stating and calling my mom dirty names. My mom is 79 years old.
Oh, wow. It appears in a voice note that the plaintiff presented, the defendant told her that they had sold all of her son's belongings and used the money to pay their mother's bills. I cannot believe this.
You're still going on about Ricky's belongings, his four-wheelers and so forth. Just to inform you, all that stuff has been sold, so it is no longer around, so you don't have to worry about it. The money was used to pay my mom's bills, sent to Ricky, and...
Miss Rebecca is a really mean person. She sends the plaintiff, Miss Lauren, a voicemail filled with curse words. You would not believe the things she said.
What the is your problem? Why are you so worried about Ricky's belongings and his children? Why don't you quit using them children as your excuse because you're a greedy?
Exactly. Where's the proof? You don't just say someone has caused you emotional distress and not have proof of this.
Emotional distress, ma'am.
Because she's sitting there harassing me on Facebook. She's sitting there and before...
Show me the evidence.
Because she deleted the post.
Do you have any evidence, ma'am?
I love the judge's ruling. She really deserves nothing.
$1,000 for the outrageous and extreme treatment from the defendant, and I'm going to pray for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Miss Rebecca has a terrible attitude towards her sister. She clearly has no love for her, and she needs to change her behavior. The plaintiff sues the defendant because she claims the defendant's son is a bully. The defendant, on the other hand, claims that her son only hit the plaintiff's son in self-defense. Check this out.
Plaintiff Danielle McDonald says her son goes to school with the defendant's son, and she claims the defendant's son is a bully who assaulted her son. Danielle claims as a result of the assault, her son suffered a concussion.
According to the plaintiff, Miss Danielle, she says her son was bullied in the lunchroom by the defendant's son, which gave her son a concussion. He was also admitted in the hospital overnight and had to miss a week of school. Wow, this is definitely a lot.
His life, he's what you consider to be a nerd. In October 2016, my son was assaulted in the lunchroom. He was bullied. He was hit by Clarissa's son.
I have no idea what's so funny either, Judge Mathis. I don't think any mother in her right senses would laugh upon hearing that a child was hospitalized and had to miss school for a week.
Like you over there laughing while she's describing her son got a concussion. And while she's telling me this, you're laughing. And now that I want to ask about it, you want to interrupt.
According to the defendant, she says that the boys have been friends since the 4th grade. And that what happened was they were only playing a game when the incident happened.
It's funny that she keeps saying it was no altercation. Off and on friends since the 4th grade.
She said it was an altercation. She said your son busted him upside the head.
Which is not the truth.
That makes no sense either. Why would you call her and she wouldn't at least mention the ambulance bill before even saying anything about going to court? It's really hard to believe what the defendant said.
$520 bill. Let's talk about that.
No.
So finish telling your story about what occurred with the fight.
Okay, so after Dominier said whatever he said to
I see it too. There is no way Dominier could have hit the defendant's kid because I believe he doesn't have a death wish. It's obvious the defendant's child is way bigger than Dominier. The defendant is clearly not telling the truth.
And you tell me he attacks him. You can have a seat. Stop attacking him. So, what is the result of all of this?
The defendant clearly believes whatever lies her son fed her when he told her the story. Either that, or she's just as much of a bully as her son is.
Mediation, they dismissed the person's claim who was not there. Your son wouldn't have been suspended because they wouldn't have had the other side of the story. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
The defendant clearly needs to do a better job in raising her son. What he did to the plaintiff's son was very wrong.